Welcome back to Half the Battle. I'm your host, as always, Daniel Levy, and today we're going to talk about UFC 307. Alex Poatan Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. and my friends. It's going down this Saturday night live at the Vivint Arena in Salt Lake City, Utah. You got one of the most devastating knockout artists, not just in UFC history, but in combat sports history, in Poatan, defending his title against the very dangerous and explosive and flying under the radar Khalil Rountree. We also got the legend Jose Aldo on the card, Kevin Holland, a fan favorite. Lots of great fights. So, my friends, without further ado, let's get down to business. So, we're going to talk about this whole card, as you guys already know. Just a couple housekeeping notes. Man, I apologize about this camera I'm using right now. I did an update on my computer and it didn't recognize my regular camera, so I had to pull up the backup. So the show must go on, so I'm always going to come through for the fans. So main event of the evening for the undisputed light heavyweight belt, we got the former middleweight champ and the current reigning, defending, undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, Alex Poatan Pereira. He's 11-2, taking on Khalil Rountree Jr., who's 13-5. Currently, they got it. Alex Poatan Pereira minus 460. The comeback on Khalil Rountree is plus 360. So unbelievable fight. There's literally people complaining about this. Why didn't Ankalaev get the title shot? I want to watch his boring ass fight Alex instead. Well, firstly, when Ankalaev fought for the belt against 40-year-old Jan Blachowicz, and I max bet Ankalaev, he was lucky to come away with a draw. Clearly lost the first 3 rounds, getting his leg kicked off, got miracle takedowns in the last 2 rounds to salvage a draw, and that guy deserves the title shot? Yeah, okay, listen, Khalil Rountree, maybe he's skipping a step, but here's something you can't debate. He's got the longest win streak in the entire division. So I didn't say unbeaten streak. I said win streak. So, I mean, listen, the only thing is Khalil Rountree, he was supposed to fight Jamal, and that would have been, his first top 5 test. And he kind of skipped that step right to the title shot. But you know what? If you watch Khalil's last fight with Anthony Smith, when he knocked him out in devastating fashion, I mean, it was like a gunshot went off, and then you saw the reaction from Smith. But when Khalil got on the mic, he literally asked for this fight. He said, listen, I don't know if I've earned it yet, but what I do know is that, me versus Poatan is the fight that the fans want to see. He didn't say those exact words, but he basically said a version of what I just said. And I mean, he's not wrong. Like, these are 2 of the most dangerous strikers going at it. So look, the good news for Khalil is he's going to get a stand-up fight. The bad news is he's going to get a stand-up fight against Alex Poatan Pereira. And listen, man, we already know what Poatan brings to the table. The best left hook in the business. He's got a very unique calf kicking style. As you saw in his last fight, I mean, he doesn't discriminate. He'll go upstairs to the head like he head kicked Yuri Prohaska into the 5th dimension, man. And then one thing about Khalil that I think is kind of a misconception, people try to act like he's a technical kickboxer. I mean, don't get me wrong, compared to many, sure, but in this case, he's actually going to be the wild one. If you watch a lot of his fights, he wings bomb. He wings to kill, man. Like a lot of it's not the most technical stuff you've ever seen. Like, he swings for the fences, and that's why we love him, because when he connects, I mean, the way he puts people down, and I love when he knocks someone down, finishes them, and he's got his hand ready to drop the hammer of Thor, and he waits to see if the ref's going to come in and intervene or not. Like, it's such badass stuff. And I was at Khalil's fight against Eric Anders in Atlanta, Georgia. Y'all see that poster behind me, the Holloway Poirier 2 Izzy versus Kelvin. Yeah, Anders versus Rountree was on that card. So I saw it live, and Khalil used to be a super inconsistent guy, but it's nice to see him on the longest win streak in the division. But like I said, it hasn't been the same level of competition, obviously, as Poatan. Because when you look at Poatan's streak, I mean, dude, this streak, like, starting from 2022, right? From 2022, Sean Strickland, champ. Israel Adesanya, champ. Israel Adesanya, champ. Jan Blachowicz, champ. Yuri Prohaska, champ. Jamal Hill, champ. Yuri Prohaska again, champ. I mean, I'm just saying, like, champ. This is the first non-champ that Poatan has fought since Bruno Blendado Silva. But But that's all, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that Khalil can't come out here and potentially land the knockout blow on someone that's been knocked out on more than one occasion, and someone that's been knocked out by not the heaviest of hitters in Adesanya. But granted, that was 20 pounds lower at middleweight. Here he's at light heavyweight, but still, Khalil does have the kind of power to end the show. No questions asked. I'm curious what Khalil by KO is. Let's see. So Khalil by KO, Rountree by knockout. Yeah, so they only got it like plus 550, plus 385, and his money line's like plus 360. So, yeah, you guys can come to your own conclusions with that. And then as far as other parts of their game, because we know them as two dangerous strikers, which is what they are, but Alex actually has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He even double-legged Izzy Adesanya, and Khalil's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Respect to him for that. But, most of the time, the black belt's going to beat the purple belt if they grapple, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, listen, ultimately, I think that Khalil swings a little bit too wide, and I think that check or counter left hook is going to be there waiting for him, and I think Alex is going to get another knockout. But I'm really excited. This fight should be great while it lasts. I mean, two devastating knockout artists. I said that Khalil's never shot a takedown before in his UFC career. Pereira has, and he's actually got it, like I said, against Izzy. So, yeah, I'm really pumped for this one. But I think this is a good spot for Alex to come out here and get another knockout on the reel. But, man, if Khalil comes out here and he wins, holy shit, he will become a star because he is one of the most – he's like a video game character, man. Like, how can you not love watching Khalil Rountree fight? Give me a Khalil Rountree over an Ankalaev fight any day, any day. So let's see what he does with this opportunity, but ultimately I will go and still the undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion, Alex Poatan Pereira. Now, co-main event of the evening for the undisputed bantamweight championship of the world. We got the champ, Raquel Pennington. She's 16-8, taking on the former champ, Julianna Pena, who's 10-5. Currently, they got it Raquel minus 170. The comeback on Julianna's plus 145. So I know the fans aren't too excited about this one, and I completely get why. Like, people are going to be like, oh, you guys hate the women. No, I don't. I fucking love Yan Xiaonan. I love Natalia Silva. Like, when you fight like Yan Xiaonan and Natalia Silva, I'm going to be your biggest fan. But I'm just not a Julianna Pena fan, guys. Like, I respect the fact that she was able to upset the GOAT. Like, wow, you finished Amanda Nunes, but that was more of a stunt on Nunes' part. Like, she did that same stunt against Kat Zingano many years ago. And what happened when they rematched? There wasn't even like maybe a moment that Julianna Pena had in the rematch or, some redeeming qualities that showed, hey, like that first fight wasn't a fluke. Nah, the rematch was an embarrassment to the point where like there was a 50-43, a 50-44, and a 50-45, which 50-45 is a bad scorecard. 50-43 is more accurate. I mean, let's look at these numbers, guys. 3 knockdowns by Amanda Nunes, 6 takedowns by Amanda Nunes. She did whatever she wanted to her except finish. So you got to give Julianna credit for her toughness for sure. But when a fight's contested on the feet, I mean, Julianna Pena usually doesn't have a snowflake's chance in hell. What Julianna Pena kind of excels at is she's super heavy on top, and if she can push a pace on you, get on top of you, then she can kind of, carry away with fights. But besides that, I haven't seen much evolution in her game, and her being ranked number 1 in the world is an absolute joke because I think Kayla Harrison would finish her. Yeah. So, and then Raquel Pennington, I got to give her a lot of credit too. Look, both of these two were actually castmates on the Ultimate Fighter, and we're gonna talk about the Ultimate Fighter later on too, with other castmates fighting each other. But here, it's funny. Dana always told Rocky, like, hey, if you can fix your takedown defense, you got hands. Like, if you can fix that wrestling element of your game, you never know. Like, you could be a champ. He literally told her that on the Ultimate Fighter, and I never saw Rocky as like champ material. I always saw Rocky as like a journey woman, but when you really examine her record, she was a journey woman outside the UFC. But in the UFC, the only people to beat her are champs, former and no current champs. But I'm saying like, the Jessica Andrades, the Holly Holmes, the Amanda Nunes, the GDRs. Like, those are the only people to beat Rocky inside the octagon. Like, those are all legitimate champs. But you could say the same thing for Pena. The only people to beat her are Amanda, Jermaine, the two people that also beat Rocky, and Valentina. So it's like these ladies are only going to only have losses to champs. And after Saturday, that's not going to change. But even though I'm not crazy, I don't know if I mentioned the odds, minus 170 Pennington, plus 145 Pena. I'm not crazy about the odds, but I do lean Pennington, man. If she can keep this fight standing, she's going to box this girl up, even piece her up in the clinch with knees and elbows. And I wouldn't be surprised if she got Julianna to shoot a sloppy shot and maybe choked her out. I mean, you remember when GDR did that to Pena? I'm not a big fan of Pena getting a title shot after one of the biggest ass whoopings in the history of the sport. And that was like 2 years ago. Like, what have you done since then? I know she hasn't evolved since then. She's a mom now. There's a chance it's a boring fight, but there's a chance Raquel might actually put it on her. But the way for Julianna to win is consistent takedowns. Thing is, Pennington ain't exactly the easiest person to take down. Like, don't get me wrong, she's been taken down plenty, but to actually sub someone like Raquel Pennington, something that has never been done inside the octagon, that seems like that seems like a stretch, guys. So I'm going Raquel Pennington. I'm not sure if it's going to be a finish or a decision, but I'm going to go Raquel Pennington here. Now, featured bout in the bantamweight division, we got the legend, the Hall of Famer, the King of Rio, Jose Aldo Jr. Now it's Jose Aldo, but I was watching back in the WEC when he was Jose Aldo. He's 32-8, taking on Mario Bautista, who's 14-2. Currently, they got it. Mario Bautista minus 140. The comeback on Jose Aldo is plus 120. I do see some plus 125s here and there. This is a fantastic fight. It really is, because you guys know normally I do kind of favor the young gun that's emerging over like the old vet, but this isn't just any old vet, guys. Like, Jose Aldo is truly one of the greatest fighters of all time. And even though, yeah, maybe he's not going to win a belt again, he's still hanging around the top 5 and top 10 of his division, of 2 different divisions. I mean, he was the champ at featherweight, and now he's at bantamweight, and he's been killing it, man. I mean, like, he's won 4 of his last 5 fights, with the only loss being to the champ Merab Dvalishvili, ironically in the exact same places this fight is occurring, which is in Salt Lake City. And word on the street is Jose Aldo, he said he hated the Merab fight so much that he feels like he owes the Salt Lake City fans an exciting barn burner. And that's exactly what we're going to get against Mario Bautista. But to give Jose Aldo a little credit for that Merab fight, like, when's the last time you saw Merab go 0 for 16 on takedowns? Actually, that's a good question. Let's pull it up. So let me look at Merab's history. So the only fights where Merab has landed 0 takedowns is the Jose Aldo fight. Every other fight Merab's had, he's landed takedowns, except the Jose Aldo fight. Credit to Aldo on that, my man. And then as far as how Aldo and Bautista match up, I got to give Bautista so much credit. He's really come a long way. And I think the thing that sticks out most about him is his pace. Like, he can put up the volume numbers we like, and he's nonstop. He's aggressive. He's not the biggest talker, but he lets his actions speak for him inside the octagon. And there's a lot to love about him, man. I mean, he's on that 6-fight win streak, and now he's earned that step up in competition. He's handled all the kind of mid-tier guys that are right outside the top 15, or even some jobbers. He's handled them mostly accordingly. I say that it just depends how you want to look at it. Like, you can, on one hand, you can say, well, when he fought Jay Perrin, he beat the shit out of him in 30-26 them. But on the other hand, you can be like, he didn't finish Jay Perrin. Ricky Simone's a super chinny guy. He didn't finish Ricky Simone. Yeah, so, when people are getting on their high horse saying that Bautista is going to come out here and finish Aldo, I'm like, you couldn't finish Jay Perrin, but he's going to finish Aldo? Like, man, bro. You know what I'm saying? But, like, listen, I think he's earned the step up. I really like Bautista. He's good everywhere. Combinations, knees, on the mat, he's nasty. That submission he had on Benito Lopez was sick, but, like, now you're stepping up in competition. And when we talk about durability, I mean, I haven't forgotten about when I laid chalk on Mario Bautista against Trevin Jones and he got knocked the fuck out. Like, and then another thing about the whole volume talk, because Bautista is going to have the volume edge in this fight, but you throw that kind of volume on Jose Aldo, you are going to leave openings for his counters. And his boxing has gotten so ridiculous for MMA in the last few years. And people are going to say that Jonathan Martinez pulled a stunt to discredit Aldo. Is that really the case? Did Jonathan Martinez really pull a stunt in that fight? Well, let's examine the numbers and see if that's truly the case. Was it about Jonathan pulling a stunt, or was it about the range that Aldo fought him at? Because, I mean, to Aldo's credit, he did not fight Jonathan Martinez at kicking range, which is where Jonathan Martinez wants to fight. He fought him at boxing range. So for all y'all that said, Jonathan Martinez refused to throw, he pulled a stunt, he was asking him for autographs. Oh, really? Is that truly the case? Well, Jonathan Martinez landed more shots in the Jose Aldo fight than he did in his win against Yanez, in his win against Said Nurmagomedov. And I'm just saying, man, Said Nurmagomedov and Yanez are no slouch at all. And Jonathan Martinez landed more shots against Aldo than both of those. So for people to sit here and say, "Oh, Jonathan, he didn't really fight against Aldo. He was timid. Timid is fine to say, but he respected him too much, or he didn't go for it." Like, dude, give credit to Aldo for the range that Aldo played that fight at. It was just so perfect. But Bautista and Martinez fight differently. Like I said, Martinez wants space to get off on his kicking game and be kind of long range, whereas Mario, he just gets in your face and likes to get into a fight. And the thing about that is, when you go back to Jose Aldo's fight with Rob Font, Rob Font actually out-volumed Jose Aldo, which I think there's a chance that Mario does too. The difference was that when Jose Aldo landed his shots on Rob Font, he had Rob Font doing the chicken dance and dropping him all over the place in a way where Rob Font was never the same ever again. I mean, y'all saw Rob Font's subsequent fights after the Jose Aldo fight, the Vieira fight, when Vieira goes out there and drops him 3 times. Got to give Rob Font credit for the Yanez fight. They had a little under 3-minute slugfest and he caught Yanez. But then after that, the Sandhagen fight, one of the worst fights in the history of the sport. Font lands 9 strikes in a 5-round fight, guys. And then the Davison fight, cleanly 30-27. So it's safe to say that Rob Font was never the same again after the night he shared the octagon with Jose Aldo, man. And again, like I said, normally I do favor the young gun to kind of usher out the old guard. And there's going to be some other spots on this card where I do take the young gun. And I'm not saying the young gun won't win, because at some point, like, even as legendary and as great as Jose Aldo is, even as much of an anomaly is the fact that he was at the top of the mountain when I was like in fucking early college, and now he's still at the top of the mountain when I'm in my 30s, like, that's a special fighter. But at some point the wheels are going to fall off. The thing is, I don't have any evidence that that's happening anytime soon. So as of right now, unless I see a huge decline from Aldo, like, I think that Mario Bautista is going to get right in Aldo's face. And I think he's going to give Aldo the openings to the counters that Aldo needs, to rip to the body, to rip to the chin. Don't be surprised if Aldo brings back his legendary leg kicks that he hasn't thrown as much. And then you guys already know Aldo's takedown defense. I mean, it was already legendary 10 years ago, but does it still hold up to this day? I mean, like I said, he fought Merab in altitude and he stuffed all 16 takedowns. He's the only man to not get taken down by Merab. So, yeah, I could see Mario Bautista winning the 3rd round, but as long as Jose is still Jose, I think Jose is going to outclass this guy the first 2 rounds and coast the last round, win a 29-28 unanimous decision. So I'm going for the King of Rio, and I think Mario Bautista will 100% be back. He's a savage. I'm a fan of his. Hey, listen, you rise to the occasion, get this win. I mean, they're favoring you to do so. All respect, but I need to see how Mario performs against someone of this caliber before I'm ready to chip in, because, again, when you're not finishing the Jay Perrins of the world, that doesn't give me much confidence against a legendary Hall of Fame octagon warrior like the great Jose Aldo. So I'm going to go Aldo on this one. Now, next up in the bantamweight division, we got a matchup between Kayla Harrison. She's 17-1, taking on Ketlen Vieira, who's 14-3. Currently, they got it. Kayla Harrison -900. The comeback on Ketlen Vieira is +600. So let's compare these odds to the last time she fought. So okay. So when Kayla fought Holly, she was -450-ish. Now we're getting back to the -900 range. Ketlen beat Holly, by the way. You know what's interesting about Ketlen is that like Ketlen doesn't really do anything too special, but she's just solid meat and potatoes. And another thing, she's got 92% takedown defense. Like the only people that really take down Ketlen are like, you know, Sarah McMahon, who took her down once, who's like a former Olympic wrestler. And this was Sarah McMahon in 2017, right? A long time ago. And Misha Tate took her down once briefly in a 5-round fight where Ketlen, you know, completely outclassed her. Besides that, people aren't out here taking her down. But the thing about it is, Kayla Harrison at 135 is special. I mean, she was fucking shit up in PFL at 155, guys. She was in the wrong weight class, but like dropping to 35s, there's just a different explosiveness, athleticism, and just the kind of physique and shape she's in. To drop those 20 pounds, to be so on top of her diet. It's not like she wasn't on top of her diet at 55s, but now at 35s, it's just different. But again, I have a lot of respect for Vieira. When Vieira first came to the UFC, she was on that 4-5 win streak. I thought that she could potentially fight for a title. She's been kind of inconsistent since then, but I mean, the talent's there. It's just the issue with Ketlen is that she's not much of a showstopper. Her fights aren't the most exciting, you know, stuff like that. But look, she does have a judo background, not like Kayla's judo background, but it's still a judo background, no less. Comes from the old school Novo and Yao camp. You know, we were talking about Aldo recently. So, yeah, there's a lot to like about Vieira. It's just that, you know, Kayla, you're dealing with a once-in-a-lifetime women's athlete. I'm curious because Vieira's usually historically pretty durable. Like, she's been knocked out standing, but she's never been finished on the mat. Let's see what Kayla by decision is. Oh, fuck. Yeah, they're onto it. So Harrison by unanimous decision plus 125. Yeah. And then by just decision straight up plus 120. Yeah, that sucks, dude. What's Kayla inside the distance then? So Kayla by sub plus 325 and Kayla by KO TKO plus 250. So yeah, they're on top of all that. So yeah, I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think the method of victory is. Because I thought it would be sneaky to say decision, but they're completely on that. They don't think Ketlen's going to get finished. So maybe Ketlen does get finished. Let's see. I'm not sure. But what I am sure of is Kayla Harrison coming out here again this win, securing a title shot, and whoever wins between Rocky and Julianna is going to keep that throne warm for her. That much I can predict. Now, next up in the middleweight division, we got a matchup between Roman Dolidze. He's 13-3, repping Georgia. Not my Georgia, the other Georgia, but a Georgia boy no less. He's taking on Kevin Trailblazer Big Mouth Holland, who's 26-11. Currently, they got it. Kevin Holland minus 150. The comeback on Roman Dolidze is plus 130. So actually, I moved in on Roman Dolidze earlier today at plus 140. I put 2 units on it. Listen, you guys already know since the Wonder Boy fight, I've been fading Kevin Holland every single fight. It's nothing against the man. As a fan, how can you not love Kevin Holland? Takes risks, fights all the time, talks in the cage. Like, he's an entertaining guy. Like, I love Kevin Holland. As a fan, I will always be a fan of Big Mouth. But the thing about it is, as a betting man, he just doesn't fight optimally. You know, like, for example, look at that Wonder Boy fight where, like, Wonder Boy falls to the ground, you get on top of him, and then you're like, you know what? Why don't you get back up and keep kicking my ass standing? Like, when you do dumbass shit like that and you're chalk and, you know, and then cashed against him against JDM at dog odds. People said that was a robbery. Yeah, robbery my ass. And then cashed a MVP against him. And then I lost on Mikal against him, but Mikal dropped him in like the first couple seconds. And Mikal was in that arm bar. And, you know, I love Joe Rogan and all them, but they were like, oh, he broke his arm. He broke his arm. His arm's broke. And then, like, I never see a single picture of Mikal in like a sling or a cast at all. Like, his arm was not broken. Not only that, Mikal's been submitted several times in the UFC, and every single time, Mikal will be the first one to tap. Mikal will tap quick. Mikal did not tap to that armbar. So why did they stop the fight? His arm wasn't broken. He never tapped. And you know Mikal is a guy that will tap. So I'm just saying, man, I'm not sure about that stoppage. Like, if a guy like Mikal is willing to let you break his arm, then break his arm. But when you hear the commentator saying, oh, his arm's broke, when his arm's not broke, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, come on, man. So I'm not saying that Holland wouldn't have come back and won that fight. I mean, he did win that fight technically, but I'm just saying, like, McCall is a known tapper, and McCall didn't tap. McCall dropped him, got caught in the armbar, didn't tap. Like, let him fight out of it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was what it was. But here, as far as Dolidze and Kevin Holland are concerned, listen, I know that Dolidze doesn't always fight optimally. I know that Dolidze fucks around from time to time. But I just think that there's levels, and not only levels, but there's a big difference in physicality. It's easy to say that, oh, Roman fought at 205 and Kevin fought at 170. Yeah, well, guess what? Mikal also fought at 205 and Kevin fought at 170. So Kevin just showed his last fight he can beat a 205er. So that shouldn't be your narrative. But what my narrative is that this dude, Kevin Holland, gives up easy takedowns, and I don't think he's going to be able to submit a guy like Roman Dolidze. I think if Roman Dolidze wants to grown man this guy, pin him up against the fence, mixing those takedowns, I think he can do that. Also, when you look at common opponents they've had, again, MMA math ain't the be-all, end-all, but this just showed me there's a different class between the two. Like when Marvin Vettori fought Kevin Holland, I mean, Kevin Holland didn't have a snowflake's chance in hell, whereas when Dolidze fought Vettori, a lot of people thought Dolidze won that fight. One thing we can agree on, it was at least competitive, whereas there was nothing competitive about Vettori and Holland. Another common opponent they have is Dawkins, not the fat Dawkins, the skinny Dawkins. I mean, Dolidze just smoked that guy in like under a minute or two, like it was nothing. And yeah, we can say inadvertent head clash, but I mean, hey, Kyle Dawkins still took this man's back and choked him out. So I'm just saying they got common opponents, and like they've performed drastically different against them. Again, MMA math, not the be all end all. Sometimes Dolidze does some questionable shit. I understand that, but like we've seen Kevin Holland get tapped out more than once. Now, I'm not just talking about the Dawkins fight. What about the Brendan Allen fight? You know, Brendan Allen can grapple, but guess what? Dolidze can grapple too. You know, so as long as Dolidze, I know he fucks around. That's the thing we're worried about, but Kevin fucks around too. Kevin is more concerned with putting on a show than anything. And I liked what I saw in that last fight with Smith against, with Dolidze against Smith. I didn't like the fight itself, but what I liked was the approach. Like, it wasn't a fun fight to watch, but the approach is kind of the approach I want here. Like, when we get on top of this guy, we tee off on him. When we pin him up against the fence, we make it uncomfortable for him. Use your physicality, use your size, and eventually get on top of this guy and choke him out, man. So, yeah, I'm going Roman Dolidze here for the upset. Now, next up in the welterweight division, we got a matchup between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's 17-7-1, taking on Joaquin Buckley, who's 19-6. Currently, they got it. Joaquin Buckley minus 200. The comeback on Wonderboy is plus 170. So this is my next bet of the night. Technically my first, because I know we're going in a backwards order, but I bet on Buckley at minus 185 to win 2 units. Here's why. Firstly, all respect to Wonderboy, you know, multiple-time UFC title challenger. He's been at the top of the game for a long-ass time. Look at his resume. Look at the people he's beat. And to still be at this level at 41 years old, shit, respect, Wonderboy. You're the man, you know? And I know I've had some back and forths with the fans about certain things, like him turning down that Michelle Pereira fight because the guy missed weight by a couple pounds. And, you know, when we talk about BMFs, they don't care. Like, you remember Max Holloway talking about, like, if we're going to go on the street, am I going to ask you to pull out a scale to see how much you weigh? No, I'm going to fight you right then and there. So, like, there's just a difference in mentality between, like, the Max Holloways and the Stephen Wonderboys. But all that being said, you fight at long range against Stephen Thompson, I mean, you're probably fucked. Like, you get into like kind of a you go, I go point striking battle with him, he's gonna start spinning on you. He's gonna start doing his blitz, his dart, like the in and out. His karate style still works to this day. And for a 41-year-old, he's a young 41-year-old, but he's still a 41-year-old. And we got to be, you know, very cognizant of that. And then with Joaquin Buckley, I love the direction he's headed in. You know, he was in the wrong weight class at middleweight, and he got stopped a couple times by some heavy hitters, but like, he also won the distance with Nasruddin Imavov and won the 3rd round. But ever since he's dropped the 70s, like, guys, you can't be 5'9" fighting at 185 in 2024. So the fact that he moved down to 70s, I love that. And I like the confidence I've been seeing. I like the game planning. And like, listen, if you have aspirations of being a top 10 guy and you haven't figured out how to beat Wonderboy Thompson yet, there's a big problem. If if Buckley wants to come out here and stand and bang for his ego with Wonderboy, I have every reason in the world, and I deserve to lose that bet. But I don't think that's what's going to happen here. I think that one thing that Buckley's improved on is his footwork and his ability to close the distance has gotten so much better over the years. And now he's timing those blast double legs. And I think those are going to be a big factor here. And people are going to be like, well, Shafkat struggled to take down Wonder Boy. What makes you confident that Joaquin's going to take him down? Good question. Well, if you actually watch the tape, you'd see that Shafkat was like desperately going for single legs and low singles and all these like, I was like, dude, why aren't you pitting him up against the fence going for a double? Because I mean, the takedown style of Buckley and Shafkat's completely different. And guys, when Shafkat finally got on top of Wonder Boy in that second round, like Wonder Boy, do you guys remember that guillotine that Tyron Woodley put Wonder Boy in and Wonder Boy somehow survived? Dude, I don't think Wonder Boy has the same kind of fight he still had, because when he was in that rear naked choke with Shafkat, he wasn't even attempting to fight hands. He was just grimacing, making faces. Okay, I accept that I've lost. And again, people are going to try to give me shit and be like, oh, but it was Shafkat, the great Shafkat, the man that can do no wrong, the invincible Shafkat. It's like, dude, people hype up fighters so much like they're invincible, like they can do no wrong, like they can't be beaten. Like, y'all just wait till you hear my breakdown of Bilal and Shafkat. Y'all just wait. I'm not going to get into it now. But my main point here was that when Shafkat was attacking the chokes on Steven didn't even fight hands. Steven straight up said, hey, take my neck. I'm going to go home, which is something Steven would have never done in the past. And then Gilbert Burns, whose striking is super ugly compared to Steven, he had no problem taking him down. Bilal Muhammad, look, he's the champ of the weight class, but I mean, he showed the blueprint, man. And Buckley, like, if you hear him talk, like, people might think that Buckley's not a smart guy because, you know, he might act a certain way. But if you really look into it, Buckley comes in with game plans. He's educated in terms of the fight game. And, like, the people he worked with for this camp, I don't know the exact names. Was it like Nicky Rod or J Rod or one of those, like, really world-class jiu-jitsu guys? Like, he went there and trained with those guys for this, which means that, oh, okay, thank you. You're not the kind of guy who brought in a bunch of karate guys to emulate a style that you're not going to learn in 6 weeks. Instead, you worked with some of the best grapplers in the world so that when you do take Wonder Boy down, you're able to inflict damage and finish the fight. I love that by Buckley. I think Buckley's going to come out here. And the thing about Buckley, when we talk about the range this fight needs to be fought at, it has to be either all the way in or all the way out. And when I say all the way out, I do not mean kicking range, okay? All the way out, I mean outside of kicking range, because Buckley, his footwork's gotten a lot better. He's circling a lot more. Like, if you watch his knockout loss against Alessio Di Chirico, Buckley just like walking forward like a marauder. That's not what Buckley does anymore. He's a lot more elusive now. The footwork's on point. And that last fight against that like 6'6" Uzbeki, was it an Uzbeki or a Kazakh? Either way, against Ruzaboyev, man. He actually got rocked a couple times in that fight, but man, the timing of those doubles was so beautiful. And then on the mat, he did a lot of damage. I was very impressed with that performance. And he even got a little cocky there. He tried to go for a mounted triangle against Ruzaboyev, who was like 6'5". You know, he lost the position, got back up, but like, I was like, okay, Joaquin, you're trying some new things here. I love to see that. And I think, yeah, we can mention how he's 11 years younger and all that. But again, you know how we were talking about Aldo kind of being, 38 and Wonder Boy being 41, but they're young. They're not young, but like they still have a lot of tread on the tires compared to normal fighters that age. But with that being said, man, I think that the blueprint has been laid out on how to beat Wonder Boy. And I think he's finally at the time where, like, because like with Aldo, he just put on the best performance he's put on in years against Martinez. Whereas with Wonder Boy, besides the Holland fight, which was how many years ago, and which was also Holland fighting like a complete, like you get on top of him and then you help him back up instead of going ahead and finishing the fight like you have in so many other fights. Like when Chiesa gave you that opportunity, you darce him right away. But when Thompson gives you that opportunity, you let him back up because of some fucking I got to be careful what I say. Some stupid ass gentleman's agreement, like the gentleman's agreement and the whole winner takes all, like I fucking hate that bullshit. If you see local promotions do shit like that, call it out. Well, it doesn't matter if they, because they don't appreciate when you call out the athletic commissions or the local promotions for the wrongdoings and the sketchy bullshit games they play. But I do, you know what I'm saying? And I will call that shit out. But all that being said, going off on the tangent, I think that Buckley's going to time these double legs. And I think he's going to come out here, ground and pound TKO or submission or 30-26 against the very nice Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And I'm hoping to cash this bet on Saturday night, my friends. Now, next up in the strawweight division, we got a matchup between Marina Rodriguez. She's 17-4-2, taking on Iasmin Lucindo, who's 16-5 currently. They got it. Iasmin Lucindo, -175. The comeback on Marina Rodriguez is +150. Guys, a couple years ago, I mean, you already know where I'm going with this fight. I'm taking Marina Rodriguez all day, but guys, this is not a couple of years ago. See, the issue with Marina is that she came into the UFC when she was already like either dead set in her prime or just entering her prime. So as a result, like the window of opportunity was kind of shortened, right? And even like in her prime, there'd be these moments like, she dominated Cynthia Calvillo for 2 straight rounds, and then third round just gets 10-8'd, kind of like what happened in the Randa Marcos fight in her debut. Dominates the first 2 rounds. Wait, did she dominate the first 2 rounds or the last 2 rounds? Either way, there was one like huge round by Randa Marcos, but besides that, Marina controlled the rest of that fight, and Marina's got some good wins on her belt. Knocked out Amanda Hebosh. The first Michelle Watterson win was a great win at the time. Mackenzie Dern, that was a great win at the time, because the whole question was like, we saw the Cynthia fight, we saw the Carla Esparza fight, how she'd get taken down so easily, and she survived on the mat with Mackenzie Dern. The Yan Xiaonan fight, listen, I didn't think she won that fight, but the fact that you can fight that competitively and close with Yan Xiaonan 2 years ago, respect. It's kind of a tough look seeing her get knocked out by Amanda Lemos, and not that Amanda doesn't hit hard, but just saying like Marina, that's the area of her game to keep things striking at a long range. And then the Vieira fight. Vieira is an incredible black belt, but further proof that whether we're talking about back in 2018 when Marina made her debut, all the way now to 2023 versus Vieira, still can't stuff takedowns. And then the Jessica Andrade fight. Jessica Andrade was like out there like shoulder rolling, like doing Ali shuffles and like doing like some like nice slick defense, which Andrade is not known for. You know what I'm saying? So now against Iasmin Lucindo, look, I get it. Lucindo hasn't fought the same level of competition, but Iasmin Lucindo is 22 years old, and guys, she's already compiled a 16-5 record. So this isn't just some 22-year-old that's 5-0. And she's done some really good things inside the octagon. That first fight she had with Yaragui, I don't understand why people are calling Yaragui a fraud or saying Yaragui got fraud checked. The Yaragui is not a fraud at all. Yaragui is very good. Yaragui beat Lucindo, beat Sam Hughes 30-27, by the way. It's just Lucindo, Yaragui just doesn't have the best chin. Like the fight she lost, she didn't like quit or get outclassed. She just got caught. But like you go the full distance with a girl like Yaragui, she is no slouch at all. And that fight between Iasmin Lucindo and Yaragui, like had Nate Landwehr and David Onama not been on that same card, that would have been the fight of the night. That was our first introduction to her. Since then, I mean, she destroyed some dude named Brogan, but submitting Pollyanna Viana was nice. And then against Karolina Kowalkiewicz, doubles her up on strikes. Those are things. So now she gets her step up against Marina Rodriguez. The issue is she's fighting a 37-year-old Marina Rodriguez. And let me just say one more thing. Lucindo has landed 8 takedowns in her last 3 fights. Marina Rodriguez couldn't stuff takedowns in her prime. I'm expected to believe she's going to stuff takedowns at 37 years old. Listen, I love Marina. At one point, I had title aspirations for her, but I think that time has passed and that Lucindo is catching her at the proper time to come out here and get the biggest win of her career. Look, obviously, if it's an all stand-up fight, I mean, at range, Marina gets nasty in there. Marina still got it standing, but Lucindo, you've landed 8 takedowns in your last 3 fights. Like, let's get that going here. Why even fuck around on the feet with Marina? Why even give Marina a chance? You know Marina can't get back up from bottom. Come on now. So I think Lucindo is going to play this smart. She's a young veteran, 22 years old, and we're calling her a veteran. 16-5. Like, damn, girl, like, respect. Well, you've been fighting what since you were like 10 or something? Like, you know what I'm saying, man? So, yeah, all respect to both these ladies, but I'm going to go Lucindo to come out here, get this decision, and I hope they can give Marina a nice little bounce back fight after this. How about Marina Rodriguez versus Marnik Man? I'm just kidding. You can't do, a top 10 opponent versus like a top 500 opponent. But either way, I'd love to see Marina get her confidence back. Now, next up in the middleweight division, we got a matchup between Ihor Potieria. He's 21-6, taking on Cesar Almeida, who's 5-1 currently. They got it. Cesar Almeida plus 385. The comeback on. Look who came to visit. Is there someone just coming to visit me? Huh? Is this Leo? No, I love this fucking guy, Leo. This my. Hold on, my new camera's not letting me show him, but let me see if I can get him up here. Here he is. As I chip my teeth into my mic. So as I was saying, guys, Ihor Potieria, 21-6, taking on Cesar Almeida, who's 5-1. Currently, they got it. Cesar Almeida minus 385. The comeback on Ihor Potieria is plus 310. I like this fight a lot because I'm like a lot of people, and myself included, used to think that Ihor was kind of like a bum. He came into the UFC with a padded record. Excuse me. And like we just weren't convinced that he was ready at that time. But let me tell you something about this kid Ihor that I truly, truly admire, man. Like when you fought the cans that he fought on his regional scene, and you come to the UFC, you take your licks early on, my boy. I mean, shit, that what Carlos Olberg did to him, what Nicolai Mariano did to him, like you'd think, like, damn, this guy's confidence must be shot. But his last couple performances, not the Michelle Pereira one, because Michelle Pereira has just been killing everybody. But besides that, man, after the Olberg fight, he comes back against this dude, Rodolfo Bellato. It was still at 205, but like that was the first sign of like Ihor being like, okay, I see a big improvement in your style. And the fact that like he almost got him out of there in that fight, it sucks how the fight ended for Ihor, but man, that was the best performance he had up until that point. Then he went up against that Robert guy who was like a super, super hyped prospect coming into the UFC, and like Ihor was like styling on him. Ihor was taunting him, fighting him hands down, dropping him. Like I was like, okay, Ihor, like this is a big step in the right direction. The Michelle Pereira fight happened, which like Michelle Pereira is on a top, 10 run right now. I mean, he's about to fight in a main event, like, I think against Fluffy too. So like, yeah, Michelle's on a different level. But this dude Cesar Almeida, there's a lot to like, and there's a lot to be concerned about. What there is to like is that kickboxing background. I'm sure y'all have heard he had a trilogy with Poatan, won one of the fights. Like the guy knows how to strike for real. But the thing about it is 36 years old and trying to patch up the other parts of his game while transitioning to MMA. While he's fresh, his takedown defense and his get-up game is good, but as he starts to fatigue, those holes start to come to light. But let me give him credit for that Kopylov fight, because initially when I watched that Kopylov fight live, I was like, how the fuck was that a split? I thought that Kopylov clearly outclassed this guy. But when I rewatched it last night, so the first round 100% goes to Kopylov. Kopylov like even dropped him, and Kopylov was doing his thing. But in the second and third rounds, those are the kind of iffy ones. I still scored it for Kopylov, but let me bring this up. While they were on the feet, Cesar was giving Kopylov problems in the second and third rounds. It's just that Kopylov had these really beautiful high amplitude takedowns, like pick him up and slam him, blast double him, and just kind of, ride out the rounds, which was able to get him the win. But one thing I want to say, just because his name is Kopylov doesn't mean that this guy is a credentialed wrestler. Roman Kopylov is known for his striking ability. He's not a wrestling Russian. He's a striking Russian. So yeah, I'm just saying, Ihor Potieria. Basically, what I'm trying to say is this: Ihor bangs with this guy. Look, they're 205ers, and or actually they're 85ers now. Both guys drop. They're 85ers. Like, yeah, anybody can land on the chin. I would definitely favor for the more technical ability of Cesar, but he's still kind of transitioning to MMA, getting used to the fact that it's not those big ass gloves. You're not in the ring anymore. You're in the cage. You know, there's takedowns involved and all that. So yeah, anyone can get caught, but I definitely have to favor Cesar standing. It's just a question of can Ihor get this to the mat? And people are gonna be like, well, what do you mean? Ihor's not a wrestler. Yeah, is Roman Kopilov a wrestler? Like, you don't have to be a good wrestler to take. Is Dylan Budka a good like, you don't have to. What about that guy that Cesar fought on Contender Series? Who was that? Lucas Fernando. Like, is that guy a good wrestler? Like, I'm just saying, like, you don't have to be a good wrestler to take down Cesar. Like, he's about to turn 37. That's not his forte. So I do think Ihor has a chance, but I also know Ihor has a history of self-imploding in fights. But man, I really want to see Ihor not go on a run, but just get a couple wins here and there so he can stick around, because he is excited. Like again, when you talk about his padded record outside the UFC, like that was the only competition available to him. So now that he just comes here to the UFC and is taking these big step ups in competition, like you've already fought Olberg and like even that Robert guy from Poland or whatever, like let's say that fight happened on the regional scene, that would have been a legitimate regional win for Ihor, where you can't say, oh, he only fights cans. So we're getting past the point of him fighting cans. And yeah, so I'm not counting him out. He's got a lot more MMA experience. He's developing. He's just a kid, guys. A little bit less than a kid that I thought, but still in his 20s. And I guess I'm thinking of when he first came to the UFC. So I expect to see some maturity. I'm going to lean with Cesar. I'm just not convinced about, minus 400 is all. But yeah, I'll pick Cesar. Now, next up in the 55-pound division, we got a match between Alexander, not so great, Hernandez. He's 14-8, taking on Austin Harmless Hubbard, who's 16-7. Currently, they got it. Alexander Hernandez minus 190. The comeback on Harmless Hubbard is plus 165. So these are two guys that, well, one of them I don't like, and then one of them I just don't enjoy watching, right? Hernandez I don't like because I've never seen, like, it's one thing to be confident, believe in yourself, talk some funny shit, but the arrogance this guy displayed against the legend when he brought out his pocket thesaurus and he disrespected the Hall of Famer, and after that Cerrone fight, he's gone 4-6 in the UFC since then. Yeah, I'm not a believer. I think that fight against Beneil Dariush was the best and worst thing that ever happened to Hernandez. The best because, hey, you beat Dariush, your name's on the map. The worst because it was obviously a complete fluke. You cannot replicate those results. And now look at him. He's lost 4 of his last 5 and he loses this. Guys, let me know in the comments. Is this Alexander Hernandez's last UFC fight? I'm not talking about contract. None of us know what his contract is. I'm talking about if he loses this fight, are they going to be like, you know what? Fuck this kid. Like, go to the NFC, kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm done with Alexander Hernandez. Not that I was ever on the train, but I'm just saying, like, I actually tried to give Hernandez a chance against Bill Algeo. I was like, well, listen, Bill Algeo's harmless. Bill Algeo's lost to talented flakes before, like Andre Fili and Ricardo Ramos. Hernandez is a talented flake. Maybe this is a good spot for Hernandez. And like Bill Algeo, who hits soft, is like dropping Hernandez, outpacing it. I was like, oh my God, dude. And then the next fight against the Leech, like, oh, and let me say this before I bring up the Leech fight. So Hernandez loses to Algeo. What happens Algeo's next 2 fights? Algeo gets brutally finished, and Algeo's a guy that's known for his durability. So I'm just saying, like, kind of like declining Algeo put on a clinic against Hernandez. And then the Damon Jackson fight, Damon Jackson goes out there and does his thing. And then Damon Jackson's very next fight against Chepe Mariscal, he gets a clinic put on him. So I'm just saying, like, dudes that are on their way out are like schooling Hernandez. And Hernandez is one of the biggest busts in the history of the sport. This guy's a fraud, a front runner. I've been saying this for how long now? The only issue is his opponent is Austin Harmless Hubbard. No disrespect with that name. I know it's a funny name, but it means something because, like, look, he's tough, he's durable. He went in there with Davi Hamosh, got his back taken, and survived, man. And like, I remember that one time he fought against that that Canadian dude. Was it Austin Hubbard's leg that got fucked up, that where he had like that surgery, or was it the Canadian dude, the purple leg guy? But either way, like he's had his moments here and there. Even that fight against Figlak, where a lot of people thought he lost, at least the output was higher than like 90% of the fights that Hernandez fights at. So yeah, it's tough for me to confidently pick Hubbard, because Harmless Hubbard is a guy that I always pick against. And I fucking named him Harmless Hubbard, guys. But Alexander the Flake Hernandez, Alexander Not So Great Hernandez, Alexander Fraudnandez. Like, can we stop with this bullshit already? I think that this is Alexander Hernandez's last fight in the UFC. We'd love to have him in the NFC, have some of our up and coming prospects get that UFC vet test, and you beat Alexander Hernandez on the regional, you're a 1 or 2 fights away from a UFC call. So yeah, I'm going Hubbard here, not confidently, because how can you be confident in Harmless Hubbard? But yeah, I will never lay no -2-0 on Alexander Hernandez against anyone. So you know what I'm saying? Maybe against Anshul Jubilee, or we can nah. He beats that guy. But just saying, I'm gonna go Harmless Hubbard here. Now, next up in the strawweight division, we got a rematch between Carla Esparza. She's 19-7, taking on Tecia Torres Pennington, who's 13-7. Currently, they got it. Tecia Torres -170. The comeback on Carla Esparza is +145. So, guys, what's interesting about this is that both of these two were on the Tough House back in the day, and they actually fought each other. Carla Esparza won a unanimous decision, and both these ladies have matured so much since that point. I mean, Carla went on to become a 2-time UFC champion. Tecia, I'm sure she's got some accolades, whether she's got to be up there for like most fights in that division or most wins. So, Ticia's been around the block, dog. You got to give her a lot of credit. The thing about this one that makes it interesting for me, and let me just give Carla credit, because Carla on the Ultimate Fighter, she was kind of a bitch. Like, they all like bullied random Marcos, but let me say this, like, she's matured a lot since then. I guess winning 2 belts will do that to you. And now, this fight, she's coming off a pregnancy. She just had her first kid, and she announced that this is her retirement fight. So those two things often lead to terrible performances. Like, you remember this girl, Julia Avila, like at one point she looked like a mean chick. And then she has her baby. She comes out with like 2 knee braces, fat, can't even fight. Like, so we don't know what to expect from Carla. And then the other issue I have is the line. Tecia -170. I don't know, but she did just have a competitive fight with Baby Shark, who's on a streak, but at the same, and a competitive fight with Mackenzie. But how much stock do you want to put into losses, right? It's just, can Carla take her down and hold her down or not? If not, I think Ticia's volume is going to be too much. And I think that Carla might be a tad bit slower with retirement looming, and the fact that she just had a kid, So, yeah, I'm going to go with Tecia Torres here to come out here and win a decision. But I understand people taking the shot at the price. Esparza's beat her once before. She's, got to, like, she has a chance, but like, man, when you really think about it, I think Carla's on a big decline. Like, the last time that she looked good was her fight against Yan Jianan in 2021, which, credit, if they ever ran it back, Yan Jianan would head kick her into planet Pluto. But ever since then, her last 2 fights have been, one was one of the worst fights in UFC history against Rose Namajunas, and then the other one against Weili Zhang. Weili Zhang at one point couldn't wrestle to save her life. Like, Weili Zhang was getting taken out by Rose Namajunas, who also can't wrestle. And like, then to come back a year later and make the kind of improvements where you can out wrestle Carla Esparza, is that more of a sign of Weili's improvements or Carla's decline? So yeah, I'm gonna go Tecia for a unanimous decision victory, contingent on stuffing takedowns, of course. Now, next up in the light heavyweight division, we got a matchup between Ovince St. Preux, OSP. He's 27-17, taking on Ryan Spann, who's 21-10. Currently, they got it. Ryan Spann -270. The comeback on Ovince is +230. So fans of the show know I'm super biased towards Ovince, man. I've always been a fan of OSP ever since the Strikeforce days. He just kind of brings something unique to the table, and a very unorthodox style. The fact that he's been able to stick around this long. There's athletic attributes. There are some sneaky, unorthodox techniques. Most Von Flue chokes and or Saint Preux chokes, excuse me, in UFC history. There's a lot to like about him. And then with his opponent Ryan Spann is what we like to refer to as a talented flake. Ryan Spann, insane athlete, amazing guillotine, knockout power, blast doubles. Like there's a lot to like about him. It's just the mental game and the chin are just not there. And I noticed the chin stuff long time ago, guys. If y'all go back to 2018 on LFA when he had this fight with Alex Nicholson, who just knocked out Zach Pauga, by the way. Pauga. Alex Nicholson had Ryan Spann dead to rights. Y'all got to pull up that fight. That was a crazy 1-round fight. And somehow Spann made a comeback. And then also Spann's been knocked out 3 times in the exact same way, which is him shooting a takedown and his opponent having those Travis Brown elbows. And that's happened 3 times, guys, to the point where in that Johnny Walker fight, which is the last time it happened, Coach Saif Saud was like, Ryan, get out of there. Ryan, get out of there. Because he knew, like, you know, exactly what was about to happen because it's happened so many times. But then, like, when you count out a guy like Spann and he comes back there against Dominic Reyes, when you think this is Dominic Reyes' comeback fight, like Ryan Spann looked like a title contender against Dominic Reyes. You're like, okay, he's finally starting to get that momentum. You said this little funny quote about how, oh, now I finally really started training, which you guys know that's bullshit. That's just, you know, it's fun. It's fun to talk like that. But ever since then, you had the biggest win of your career. You look the best you've ever looked. Then you get submitted in under 4 minutes against Krylov. The Smith fight, I low-key thought he won the Smith fight. Like, clearly lost the first, clearly won the second. The third round, I thought that Smith landed more volume, but I thought that that Spann landed more impactful shots. But I also absolutely concede the fact that Spann let his foot off the gas. And you do that, you got no one to blame but yourself. And that's just more further proof of like the decision making, right? And then the Bogdan Guskov fight, I mean, Spann was looking fucking great early and just self-imploded. This guy is a self-imploder. And then a little narrative talk that I wanted to bring up to y'all is that this is not Ovince St. Preux's first experience fighting someone from Fortis MMA. In fact, he knocked out Alonzo Menafield, who's no longer Fortis, but was Fortis when they fought. Beat Kennedy and Zechuku not too long ago and like put up career high numbers. Let's pull up what those numbers were exactly. My boy Ovince, not only was this the first time that Ovince had landed over 100 significant strikes in a career that I've been tracking since 2010, but my boy goes out there. Listen to these numbers, guys. Ovince attempts 276 strikes and lands 143 of them, and all 143 strikes that he landed were all significant. So that I was like, damn, I know I never seen Ryan Spann fight at a pace like that, you know. But what I have seen is that Spann is an opportunistic, dangerous finisher, nasty guillotine, big punches. Like, you guys know the deal. So yeah, Ovince is on his way out, and Ovince can possibly get caught here early. But man, I think the longer this fight goes, I think Ovince has some very sneaky and tricky vet tactics waiting for Ryan Spann. So contingent on Ovince not just getting blasted out of there early. I think Ovince is going to complete the trifecta of the and be the Fortis MMA killer. All respect to Fortis. I love Saif Saud and I love their fighters, but I just got to call a spade a spade. I know Coach Saif Saud's like, fuck, am I going to let this guy beat us a third time? Like, I'm sure they know all the in and outs of Ovince's game, but to see a guy like Ovince, who, he's 40 years old now, 41, like to see him have a career high output his last fight, hey, dog, that's pretty badass. So you get me past these first few minutes, and I think Ovince has a great chance. Obviously, you can't speak with too much conviction, but no, I am not interested in laying minus 270 on Ryan Spann in a UFC fight. So I'll go Vince here. Now, last but not least, kicking off the card, we got 2 OGs. We got Tim Means. He's 33-16-1, taking on Court McGee, who's 21-13. Currently, they got it. Tim Means minus 200. The comeback on Court McGee is plus 170. You know, these guys, yeah, obviously we can talk about their fights, but let's talk about them as people. You know, Court McGee, one of two UFC fighters that's died and come back to life from an overdose. Matt Brown being the other one. And then Tim Means, I know he was like in and out of a lot of like correction facilities. And I think I don't quote me on this. I think he may have even had like a meth addiction. Don't quote me on that. But man, he's cleaned his life up, and you love to see it. Now he's like a wrestling coach for kids. Like, man, and I'm sure Court McGee's doing all kinds of things in his community. So you love to see it. But I just think that although both guys are on their way out, they're way closer to the end than the beginning. I mean, I think this is a retirement fight for both, or for one, or one fight away from retirement. I just think that Court McGee has slowed down drastically. He was never the fastest guy, but now he's just getting blown out the water early and often and easy. And like when you look at that most recent fight against Alex Morano, so I laid minus 300 straight on Alex Morano. That's how confident I was that Court's done. And like Court was so done that he still lost that fight, but like it was way more of a sweat than expected because Alex Morano, apparently he's on his way out too, guys. Like, yeah, I'd love, like I said, I laid that minus 3 on Morano against Means and kind of gave me a sweat. Now it's like I want to, not against Means, against Court McGee. And now I kind of want to lay that minus 2 on Tim Means against Court, but like it's just so hard to want to lay chalk on a guy who's lost 4 of his last 5, who's on a fight or 2 away from retirement. It's just tough. All that being said, I like the slicker striking style of Tim Means. His wrestling's gotten a lot better. I think he's got a good chance to come out here and knock out Court McGee. So I'm going to go with the Dirty Bird. Go Falcons. Now we got to talk about the fight to watch and the fighter to watch. So what is the fight to watch for UFC 307? My friends, you know what the fight to watch is. It's the great Jose Aldo versus Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista's put up that 6-fight win streak against lower level competition. You've earned your step up against the legend, Jose Aldo. First, we were thinking retirement. Now we're thinking career resurgence. I mean, that fight against Jonathan Martinez was quite the statement. Like, for a guy you think, oh, he's 38. Oh, you retired before. That looked like a top 10 guy to me. And Mario is going to make him fight. So, man, I mean, Jose Aldo versus Mario Bautista is my fight to watch. Who is my fighter to watch? My fighter to watch is Joaquin Buckley. Man, listen. You're 11 years younger than this guy. The blueprint has been laid out for years on how to beat Wonder Boy. This is an IQ test for you, Buckley. And I think you come out here, you pass this test. This is going to be your last fight on free TV. Next one might be on the pay-per-view. 1 or 2 more wins after that, you could be in title contention, kid. And all respect to Wonder Boy and everything he's accomplished. I'm a big fan, but I respect the fact that he's letting these young guns get the opportunity to come out here and test themselves against him. Because when Wonder Boy was coming up, the young guns gave him his chance. And now, not the young guns, the established vets gave the young gun Stephen Thompson his chance. And now Stephen Thompson is doing the same thing, giving Joaquin his chance. So all respect for that, man. But yeah, Joaquin Buckley is my fighter to watch. Well, my friends, we did it. It's going down this Saturday night live in Utah, Salt Lake City, man. It's gonna be interesting to kind of keep notes on the altitude and the elevation and whatnot. And man, I'm so grateful for all y'all support. Apologize about the setup today. I know that for whatever damn reason, my camera decided not to work, how to get the backup going, but the show must go on as always. Shout out Meticulous for the incredible graphics and artwork and thumbnails and teamwork that you contribute to Half the Battle. The fans, y'all are absolutely amazing. The respect and love y'all have shown me is just, yeah, I can't reciprocate it enough, man. So my DMs are always open to chat with anyone that's got my back, on Twitter at Best Fight Picks. Also on Twitter at Half the Battle HQ, and on Instagram at Half the Battle Pod. If I don't respond to you, it's probably because I didn't see it, unless you just said some stupid disrespectful shit where I'm like, yeah, okay. But if you sent me something nice and I didn't see it, try my DMs. I see those. Yeah, so follow me on Twitter at Best Fight Picks. I think I already said where to follow me, but again, Half the Battle HQ on Twitter, and then also Instagram, half the Battle Pod. Also, rest in peace to the legend, Pete Rose, man. You know, yes, he broke a rule by gambling, but some rules are stupid as fuck. It'd be one thing if he bet against himself or bet against his team or something like that. That's like or not fight fixing, but sports fixing territory. That's corruption. But to bet on yourself or to bet on other teams, like, how is that a problem? Like, so what? Fuck the rules. That rule's stupid, dude. That's like me smoking a joint at a concert and I'm not bothering anyone. Oh, and you want to go throw me in jail because I smoked a plant that grows from the earth. It's just like some rules are just so stupid that I don't care about the rules. I care about what's right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. It's a disgrace they didn't let this man Pete Rose get into the Hall of Fame while he was still alive. And then I also want to say rest in peace to my dad's best friend and someone that I viewed as an uncle, Dick Rose, who actually gave me this shirt maybe like 10, 15 plus years ago, like gave me this shirt off his back. And was just had the best sense of humor. I'll give you all a funny story. So like my dad, you know, he's from Romania, right? Like, so where he grew up, like smoking weed and stuff, that's like considered like cocaine or heroin. Like that, there's a very bad stigma. But my dad's best friend, Dick Rose, was like a big time pothead, right? Because you know, Dick Rose being from the United States, whereas my dad being from Romania, it's just the cultures are completely different. So back when I was, you know, living with my dad, like long ass time ago when I was in high school, and Dick Rose would you know fly in from Cleveland to stay with us, like you know when my dad wasn't around, me and Dick Rose would sneak out to the back and smoke joints together. And my dad never found out about it, but like, yeah, man. You're gonna be missed, Dick Rose, man. You had the best sense of humor, like, and thanks for always being there for me, man. You know, you'll be missed, brother. Brother, you'll be missed, uncle. Like, so yeah. Rest in peace, Dick Rose. Rest in peace, Pete Rose. And my friends, until the next time, let's cash these bets.